Hey everybody, it's Judy and welcome to the More Than Enough Women's Circle Facebook Live. Today is Thursday, it's 3 p.m. Pacific time, and I want to welcome you to the Be a Quitter Facebook Live. And we're going to be talking about those 5 habits that you don't need, that are totally unnecessary, that you can quit. We're going to talk about them as well as what are some real practical tools that I've used with my clients in the More Than Enough method to be able to really break free. Because let's face it, those 5 habits are really causing us stress and burnout. So before we get started, I just want to remind you to like and share. Like and share this Facebook Live with anybody that you think would really benefit from it. And if you are online with us right now, please give me a hello, give me a heads up, let me know that you're here. I just realized I don't have my microphone on, so I'm going to grab that real quick. I'll be right back. See, this is what we call real-time production. Okay, I hope you can hear me better now. And during this Facebook Live, as I mentioned, we're going to be quitters. I'm inviting you to be a quitter with me. And this is a quitter in the best possible way, because we are going to quit those 5 habits that we don't really need. Number 1 being or trying to please everyone. Number 2, overthinking. Number 3, self-criticism. Number 4, living in the past. And number 5, the fear of change, right? These are 5 habits that we don't need to have, and they're causing us burnout. So in varying degrees, chances are you have one of those 5 habits, or maybe all 5. And chances are, if you do, that's why you're here, because you're interested of how do I break free. So you are actually already willing to start the process. You've already taken the first step. So congratulate yourself for that. And you wouldn't be here if you didn't have that willingness. Am I right? So the other thing is, I also know that you do want to quit. You do want to quit these habits because they are holding you back and they're drawing on your energy. Because each one of these creates a cycle of stress, because it just puts us in a place of having to work extra hard, and that's not our natural state. Okay? And the real problem is that most of these behaviors, actually all of them, are when we're on autopilot. When we are running 100 miles an hour and we don't slow down, and we don't have a pace that we can maintain, being present and being conscious and coming from that stillness inside of us, we tend to come from a busyness inside of us. So if the underlying problem is that we're on autopilot, you're going to notice that as I go through each one of these step by step, I'm going to give you a specific tool for each one that's going to really help you sink in and get present. So again, if you're here, if you're already logged in, please let me know that you're here. And if you have any questions along the way, please ask your questions. I would love to know what those questions are. So also want to tell you, I have met so many clients. These 5 habits run the gamut with all of my clients, but I will say, I'm going to give you one example. My client, Betty, and she was known as the Energizer Bunny. I mean, she was the VIP in her company that was always on the go, always, striving to do her best and to be at the top of the heap, so to speak, in terms of, who was engaging and how she was running her team. She had a very high performing team, but at the same time, she herself was running herself into the ground, to the point that before I met her, she ended up having to go to the hospital because she had heart palpitations at work one day. And she had to go to the hospital and found out that she had extremely high blood pressure, and she really was scared and she was afraid. And the one thing is that she really wanted to think outside the pill box. Now, I do not give any medical advice. This was her personal choice, but she really wanted to think outside the pill box. She really wanted to have some behavioral changes, not just physical, taking some kind of a drug. Now, again, I'm not against drugs completely. I don't personally take any other than vitamins, but her personal philosophy was that she really wanted to look at this problem from a holistic standpoint. Obviously, she had to get her blood pressure under control, but her goal was really to get off the medication and be able to have better, healthier habits. So with that said, we worked on specific solutions to her problem, and she was a huge people pleaser. So, her number one was trying to please everybody. And here's the thing, when you're trying to please everyone, the want that you have that's underneath it is that you want approval from others. You have a sense of feeling that you don't have the approval, or you have to prove yourself to others so they approve of you, okay? That takes a lot of energy. Again, creates a lot of stress and a lot of burnout. Now, one of the things that Betty and I worked on for her was that she created a routine of doing things like meditation, that she would actually fill her bucket first in the day. So the strategy is that, you can't, there's that saying that you can't give people, water from an empty bucket, right? So she wanted to fill her bucket first so that she could give to others from the excess, right? So with Betty, her way of filling her bucket first was either meditating for 10 or 15 minutes, depending upon if she was traveling or not. She would go out and run, or she would do morning pages. So for any of you that know the artist's way, that's ever done that exercise, she would do morning pages for 20 minutes and just write and write and write. And that was really helpful for her. That would fill her tank. That would help her out. So that's trying to stop that people pleasing, the pleasing everyone. So that's number one. Let's move on to number two. So number two is that habit of overthinking. When we're thinking about things, we're ruminating. That's another word that we use to think of, to paraphrase what overthinking is. We ruminate on things, and they go around in a cycle in our brain, right? You guys know what that is, right? That cycling, it keeps going through, it spins and spins and spins. It's kind of like that icon on our computer when we're waiting for a file to load. It's like spin, 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 spin. That same thing. And we want to figure it out. The underlying want is that we want to figure it out. And here's the thing, the illusion is that we are the doer, that we're actually running this universe. And truth of the matter is, we're not, right? When we come from a place of allowing things to unfold, we stop that cycling, that spinning of overthinking a lot quicker. Now, what I do want to say about this is a really great tool that I'm suggesting to you now is free-form writing. So free-form writing is different than morning pages. Free-form writing is something that you set a timer for a certain amount of time, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and you basically keep writing and writing and writing all the thoughts that you have, especially when you find yourself spinning. You want to grab a piece of paper, write everything that you can on the paper, especially if it's getting you off of focus of a specific task that you have. So if you're supposed to be focusing on this, but your mind is spinning on something else, you want to do the free form writing on what's ever spinning so that you put that aside. Okay? So that is the tool. When you are the overthinker, you want to get the practice of free-form writing, writing all your ideas down for as long as you can, set a timer for a certain amount of time, and then set it aside. Focus back on what your prime task is so that it clears your mind, okay? Number 3 is self-criticism. So the underlying want of self-criticism, believe it or not, is that we want our own approval. It's not necessarily approval of others. We want our own approval. We want to stop judging ourselves. And part of the task here is to talk to your ideal woman. We all have that ideal woman, that voice in our head that tells us who we should be, who we ought to be, what we should do, what we could have done, right? So that's the ideal woman. You need to become friends with her. So if you have that problem of self-criticism, you need to get friends with your ideal woman, that voice in your head, and you need to find out what she needs from you because you're not paying attention to her. So chances are you need to hear what she's trying to tell you, what wisdom she's trying to help you with. Okay? So number 3 is living in the past. I'm sorry, number 4. Number 4 is living in the past. So if that's a behavior that you have, the underlying want is actually wanting to fix things, wanting to push things away, or wanting to hold them close. So the other way I think of it is living in the past is really a push-pull because we know it's happened in the past and it's not really happening now, but it's like this crazy 8 cycle of I don't want to have to deal with it. Oh, but I'm going to push it away. And oh, but I know that it's happened in the past and it might happen again. Oh, I don't want it to happen again. So we have this crazy 8 kind of pattern go back and forth. So when you're living in the past, the key here is to access the presence process. Okay, so one of the things that I learned from going through the presence process, and it's a 10-week program, and the key nugget that I got from that was that you want to ask yourself in the moment this specific question. What do I truly need in this very moment, in this second, right now? So if you're constantly thinking about the past, ruminating about the past, but what is it that I need in this current moment? Now, I can tell you when I did this 10-week process of the presence process, most of the time when I would say 99% of the time when I ask myself that very question, what is it that I truly need in this very moment, in this very second right now? My answer was usually nothing. What I needed was to get present. I needed to be able to ask myself that question from a quiet place inside of myself, as opposed to asking it in my head. What do I truly want or need in this very second, right now? What do I need right in this very second? Chances are you don't need anything in the moment. You may want certain things, but you probably don't need anything in the current, present, exact second moment, right? So that's number 4. Number 5 is if you have the habit of the fear of change. The fear of change, the underlying want is wanting control. We want control, we want security, we want safety, and what human doesn't want that, right? So I'm not saying that you don't want to have that, but you want to be able to give it to yourself. If we are in the place of being afraid of change, we are giving away our power to someone, something outside of ourselves. And the fact of the matter is that if we get quiet and get still, and we can actually take back our power and realize in the moment, number 1, who are we giving our power away to? But most importantly, number 2 is what are the choices that I have? And what are the choices that I have that I want to take, or that I'm taking, or I'm avoiding taking, right? Because sometimes we're afraid to take the choice that we have, or we're just like not happy with either choice. And sometimes the choice then is to say that, that we choose a third option, is to come up with a third option and be resourceful. So the tip here for having the fear of change, there's 2 parts of it. Number 1 is to owning the power that you do have, the choices that you do have. So be of choice, don't be of default. Because those of us who live in default, who let other people make our decisions for us, we actually are making a decision, but we're making a really poor decision to let other people take our power away. So we want to be proactive in making the decisions that we want in our life, right? And really owning that power. So I hope that this has been super helpful for you. I've given you a ton of great, valuable information specifically for each one of those 5 habits. I've given you amazing value and practical tools that you can do right now so that you can quit those habits and have new habits and practices and tools and strategies to put in their place. So I hope you have an amazing day. And if you have any questions, please post them. Even if even if you are asking your question after the video, I promise I will answer your question as soon as I see it. Generally, it's within 24 hours. So I wish you an amazing, amazing day. And please like and share. Please like and share this with everybody that you know that needs to be a quitter, that needs to quit one of these 5 habits. Give this gift to them so that they can be a quitter too. All right, have a great day, and I'll see you in the More Than Enough Women's Circle tomorrow, the next day, and the day after that. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.